Hey guys, it's Keith here, and it's been a while since I uploaded any videos to my channel, and I have a couple of videos in my bank right now, so I figured I want to showcase you this one today. This one's gonna be a fun one for me, and it involves a little bit of strategy, some level of tactics, and a lot of fun actually. And I'm gonna be using my Marine Armour division here, and today I want to highlight to you how amphibious assaults when using Marines can be really fun, and a very good idea sometimes. We're gonna be playing on the map of Kaliningrad, and if you played this map before, you know how far this your reinforcing route can be from the objectives at the center of the map. We're gonna kick things off with the air engagement here. I'm gonna be bringing out the A-10 Hornet, joined by my allies F-35Bs, and for you keen-eyed observers, you're gonna see we're gonna be playing against the Americans too. So this is a mirror matchup here, a little bit of a modern civil war going on right now. And my FA-18 Hornet does take out, yes it does take out the enemy Raptor, but quickly dying to the enemy AA fire instead. As you can see, I've already brought out the EA-6B Prowler, the seed aircraft, already launching 3 of its HARM missiles, and I think 2 confirmed kills on both of the HARMs here. The Prowler is still gonna have 1 missile left, so I'm gonna keep it hanging about just to catch out just before launching its last missile before calling it back home. Now, at the start of the game, I knew because I was the Marines, and I wanted to take advantage of me being an amphibious unit. I want to sort of play on the right side of the map here. Now, there are no objectives on the right side of the map here, so logically speaking, there's nothing for me to play here. But if you've played this map before, you know how dangerous it could be if the enemy successfully get unit across the river and to your side of the river instead. So I'm gonna, like I said, I just typed out, communicated to my team here that I'm gonna be stationed on the right side here to make sure that the enemy doesn't take advantage of that and harass us on the back lines here. Having enemy units across the river on your side, it's gonna be a troubling, it's gonna pose a threat to our back lines here, and especially true on this map, because the reinforcing route is so far from the objectives point that any delay or any damage, harassment to the supply lines is gonna have a major impact on the stability of the front line here. So I took it upon myself to make sure that I cover my teammates' supply routes here. So right now I'm just scoping around, making sure that I sort of understand what kind of buildings or positions that I can take to make sure that I cover the river. But slowly but surely I've sort of figured out that it is a far better idea to harass the enemy yourself rather than just waiting for them to come in. Right, so what's the old adage? The best defense is a good offense. So I think at some point in this game, see, I'm starting to scope out the other side of the river here. I'm trying to think that I want to take the initiative to present a problem to my enemies here, and instead of waiting for them to come across, I'm gonna go over to them as well. Now the idea isn't for me to hold any real positions or hold any ground, because it's pointless to be sending units over there constantly. But I do want to put a good enough amount of units across so that it forces my enemies to sort of respect the initiative that I'm taking here. Like I said, if I manage to put units across, and if they don't respect it, I'm gonna have free reign to engage the enemy backlines myself. And that's what you can see that I'm trying to do right now. So because the Marines are equipped with the AAVP, and the AAVP themselves are amphibious, so they're able to traverse across the river here, no problem at all. Now you can see my allies holding the front line right now relatively well. We are losing Bravo, which is on our side of the river, so I'm gonna have to move quickly to sort of alleviate my teammates' pressure on the front lines here. Just gonna be queuing up my Harvest Hawk. I'm gonna be putting in some soldiers and some units in there. Also gonna be bringing out a Prowler to sort of cover the Harvest Hawk from any enemy AA pieces. And I'm also gonna use my AVP. As you can see, I just gonna move them up and across the river, and everything's gonna be moving very quickly now. So I'm gonna be taking over this dock area here, just to be like a staging ground for all my attacks. Prowler's doing a fantastic job, but my Harvest Hawk is gonna be intercepted by the enemy Raptor here. Fortunately for me, the Harvest Hawk does manage to drop off or check out its payload, but I think it's not gonna last. My pack is gonna be returning the favor, and as soon as my forces land, I'm gonna be queuing them up or moving them immediately away from the drop zone. And you always want to do this because enemy players are gonna start lobbing in artillery shells, bombing runs, precisely where you've just landed your troops. You can see my AAVP bringing out across a Marine squad as well as a Mech AA team, and it's quickly made it to the other side of the dockyard here. Enemy B2 Stratofortress is going to be launching a lot of cruise missiles my way, and it's a bit of a mistake on my end not moving the Patriots quick enough. As you can see, I'm going to be losing that Patriot very quickly now. The enemy is definitely reacting to my push right now, bringing in two Thunderhogs, I think, and quickly taking out, unfortunately taking out one of the AAVP with some units inside. But one of the Thunderhog does die to the friendly AA, and my LAV-AD successfully brings down the other. The pilots themselves garrisoning that building here has managed to catching out the enemy sniper team, so this went fairly well for me. So I've somewhat established a foothold right now on the enemy side of the river, and with things cooling down a little bit, I'm going to be reorganizing my supplies, bringing out a fresh Patriot to cover the skies, and just going to be planning the next phase of this harassment. Again, I'm not trying to stay here too long, and I'm not trying to commit too much to this attack. The objective for me here is to be to raid, essentially. The idea is to present the enemy with a problem here, right? Because now I'm across the river and in a position where the enemy cannot counter unless they put sufficient troops to react to this. That hopefully is going to divert some attention from the front lines here, which I'm hoping would allow my teammate to take advantage of that and push across. I see the enemy pilots just running towards my position here, so I'm going to be resuming my AVP. The AVP actually has some machine guns as well as the grenade launcher here, quickly taking out the enemy pilots here. A couple of juicy targets here for my AVP to quickly silence those artillery pieces, and these are some mobile Humvee artillery pieces that it's just free kill for me right now. So you can see how effective it is once you cross over to the enemy side of the river, especially with some vehicle pieces here. You can very quickly zoom in to vulnerable pieces here. You can see I managed to catch out an enemy pack missiles deep in the back lines. They probably thought it was safe behind the front lines here. It's now being quickly taken out. Now I was trying to chase down that I think it was 7 AA artillery pieces, but I figured the Gimlers would be a better target here, and certainly safer for my LAV as well. Does successfully take out the Gimlers, but the enemy Hellfire does take my LAV out in the end. So not a bad harassment, and you have to understand that taking these couple of kills may hurt, but what's really damaging right now is the psychological pressure I have on the enemy player right now as well. because right now they're most likely going to be stressed up, and gonna have to shift them to force them to change their perspective, change their tactics a bit, change their overall strategy, because right now they have to dedicate some troops here to sort of counter my aggression here. Marine Raiders is going to be engaging the enemy Beefist, Bradley Beefist here. Force Recon does manage to damage. Hopefully it takes it out very quickly soon. Enemy striker team is coming to engage my Force Recon, so these two units here, I'm just looking to do as much damage as I can for hopefully them being overrun eventually. See, my Marines and mech was in a position where the enemy wasn't expecting, and you can see the enemy tried to push their own AA units inside, manpad units inside, and it's gonna be caught out by my Marines already in position to ambush them. Force Recon, unfortunately having no more anti-AT pieces, AT ammo here, unable to do anything against the enemy striker. And every single second that I draw the enemy in, it's gonna relieve pressure from the front lines here, especially on the B points, the Bravo points here. Notice how the Bravo point doesn't actually have any units defending it right now, so we're not being pushed against the objective points here. Like I say, because the enemy is forced to react to my aggression here. Now, unless they get some scouting units, maybe a drone or a sniper team to truly understand if this entire area is cleared, they're gonna have to do it manually, as in they're gonna have to push units into this section here, away from the front lines, and sort of take control of this section here again. Now the Marines with its amphibious units, you can see I'm pushing across my LAV-AD, double AAVP with units inside them. Yeah, I'm not going to be relying on any helicopters right now, because these amphibious units can get the job done. I am, however, going to be bringing up my Viper here. A Viper has at least 12 Hellfire missiles. It's going to be helping me engage the enemy Thunderbolts. Already taking one out. You can see double War Pigs here. War Pigs is a sign of the enemy using Spec Forces division. And one of the War Pigs does go down very quickly to my Marines, but unfortunately against Delta squads, yeah, my guys here are as good as dead. There's no chance for them, so I want to repay or sort of take advantage of that. I'm gonna be bringing out my Hornet with its 2 GBU 500, I believe, sort of painting a target and hopefully taking one of the squads out with a bombing run. There we go, and nada. Gets nothing done. Gonna be flying or return the base, the Hornet there. You can see all my units here bunched up. It's a bad idea if the enemy knows that I have all these units bunched up together. A single artillery piece, maybe even a cruise missile, is gonna wipe them all out. But with phase 1 coming to an end, we're up by a relatively healthy margin, 2 points above if this stays true. And you know, I consider this distraction here somewhat successful. Just nice. You can see on the left side here, just behind B point, right now just highlighted it. I'm bringing up my armor. I'm starting to bring up the armor to reinforce the front line there, because I figured, enough damage has been done over here, and as much as I like to play this side further, it's just gonna be a losing battle if I continuously harass the enemy here. It's because resupplying my forces here is gonna be a challenge itself, and the objective for me here isn't to hold the port or anything. It's merely to just divert the enemy's attention away from the bridges here overlooking Charlie. So you can see it cheekily brought back my pilot inside the AVP. You're gonna be sending that back, so refunding my points here. I am gonna be bringing up a King Stallion far on the right side of the map here, dropping in a LAV and a sniper team. Hopefully, the idea was to bring in some sort of recon, harassing units, see if I can catch them off guard. I want to be as problematic as I can be for the enemy to deal with, so that their attention is going to be drawn far away. When you prod enough and you sort of pop up enough in different places, even if you don't have any troops left over on your side, the enemy is gonna, it's gonna keep them wondering, like, if you have any units there that they have to be wary of. You can see they've started to bring in some heavier assets, committing more and more heavier troops that could have been used on the front line, but they're now gonna have to deal with my units over here. Snipers, just gonna load up the LAV here. Let's see if I can drive to a good position where I can spot stuff. Multiple enemy tanks here. I think I see 3 Thunderbolts as well as 2 Abrams. As well as a Comanche here trying to engage my units here. Comanche is going to quickly get taken down. You can see a lot of enemies, tanks hung up on this position here. Hopefully the Viper does takes out one, maybe it takes out the second one. Yes, it does, before the enemy striker shore quickly shows up and takes out my Viper very quickly. You can see my push into the port here has been dealt with, and I'm not looking to commit anything more again on this side, because undoubtedly the enemy is going to show up or put some units here on the port here just to prevent me from doing the same thing again. And if they have units over there, they're not going to have enough on the front lines where it truly matters. So I would say mission successful. I have successfully diverted some of the units, the enemy units here. D1 Lancers tried to do something, not sure what it was trying to do, but yeah, quickly shutting down that B1 Lancers approach. Heavy armor is ready to rumble. My LAV just trying to be sneaky and trying to find a space that it can traverse in. Roger. Ooh, nice shot by the Patriot here. Enemy F-16 CJ does go down. That's gonna be a good score on that. Throughout the front lines, you can see everything's relatively stable with both teams securing their side of the objectives. And I'm gonna be, because I was playing a lot of micro on the enemy side of the river, I've kind of been floating a lot of points here. You see I have roughly 2,470 points up for use here, so I could quickly bring in a lot of units eventually. Enemies trying to push across with the shore red. I think that was a misplay. You shouldn't really be pushing up your AA pieces across like that. I brought out an F-18D Hornet here just to do a bombing run, spot a juicy target here. The enemy Gimler is just in view, it's not hidden or anything. LAV bumping into a lot of enemy forces here, and schwack, that was sexy. Bombing run done, it's gonna be flying home. LAV is just gonna try to survive. Not much can be done with the enemies chasing you. Like I said, the more harassment I make in different random positions on irrelevant points of the map, the more the enemy would have to commit to sort of protect their back lines here. Right now I'm just queuing up a bunch of heavy tanks here. I'm sort of shifting my strategy from a raiding party into a frontline combatant now. So I figured phase 1, I've done enough damage, I've done enough psychological damage as well. Sort of, as you can see, the enemy is bringing in Apaches, helicopters just to do a scout around the area. Phase 2, I'm going to be bringing in my armor forces here, and you can see the enemy's renewed push across the bridge here. Pushing across the bridge like this is going to be, it's always a precarious thing because any artillery is going to be, or any artillery is going to shut down this push. You can see I have a single tank joined by my allies' infantry here, holed up inside the building here. The tank itself, one of the heaviest tank in the US Army Division, actually the heaviest tank in the US Army Division. It's going to be up against a whole lot of mech infantry here. Mech infantry does have the AT-4, but unless you're presenting side or rear armor, the front armor is heavy enough to tank all of these shots here. So right now my tank is just gonna try to hold the line against these striker javelin, just to make sure that they don't push too deeply and overrun our backlines here. The allies quickly shoring up its defenses. Yeah, but unless we do something quickly right now, the enemy is just gonna keep pouring in, and that's the right thing to do. I think once you have a foothold, you should just keep pouring in some units, sort of exert more pressure. Unfortunately for them, I was floating on a lot of points, and I am definitely bringing a lot of tanks to the fight right now. Double FAD is just going to be in position for any helicopter pushes, but one of the strikers is dangerously close to my Patriots. I'm going to be pulling my Patriot quickly away, just getting it out. 4 heavy tanks is now up on the front line. It's going to be resuming to the bridge over here. You saw I just queued up a barrage on the end of the bridge, just to dissuade, or like just to dissuade the enemy from pushing any further. Didn't manage to catch out any enemy tanks, but one of the it's a bit of a glitch there. One of the tanks was successfully persuaded to back off, and we have just successfully defended against the enemy push. So reinforcements coming in. I'm going to be quickly re-establishing the front line, getting my tanks into position to push. Now I don't want to be pushing in across right now without any adequate support. You can see my AA pieces is quickly trying to join front line. You never want to push any positions without any counters to air engagements. As you can see, the enemy killer eggs armed with the Hellfire missiles is gonna be a dangerous threat to my tanks here. LAV AD unfortunately shows backside, shows rear armor to the mech squad with the 84. Does take out my AA pieces here. So I'm gonna be pulling back my tanks for now, making sure that they stay alive and don't lose them unnecessarily. Fortunately, I do have a friendly mech infantry manpad squad nearby. It's going to be harassing the enemy killer eggs. So you see on the top right of the screen here, I've put a sniper inside the the ship here, just so they could sort of peek out and take a look, give recon to anything trying to push across the river here. Now that we're no longer contesting against the river here, I felt relatively confident that the enemy is not going to attempt to push anything across. So my focus right now is going to be on this bridge here, trying to build up my forces so that we can push across and capture position Charlie and Echo. Still a lot of enemy heavy equipments, a lot of heavy enemy presence across the river here, and it's going to be a difficult time for us to push across without proper planning. As you can see, I'm just queuing up some of the forces that I would need. It's like a rock paper scissors kind of thing, so you're gonna have LAV-AD for any air defense, heavy tanks to sort of absorb and dish out damages, infantry and scouts to provide vision recon, as well as extra DPS here. Force recon was scouted by the enemy artillery, so it's going to be taking artillery fire right now. So at this point of the game, it's pretty much a stalemate, but we're up in points for a while now, but we're sort of equal in the number of kills that we managed to dish out. So the game is still relatively in the balance, hanging in the balance right now, so it could swing anyway, especially in phase 3 when both sides sort of build up their forces and it's getting ready for a push. Now, I'm just gonna get in here to try to decap this, deny the enemy the extra 2 points that they might have gotten at the end of phase 2. You can see with the trophy, the active protection is engaged right now. The enemy javelin team, with its long-range javelin missiles, it's in a good position to harass my vehicles here. So I gotta be very careful with that. Constantly, and the enemy artillery is posing quite it's not too damaging, but it is gonna be affecting you can see my tanks just went into panic right now. The performance of the tank crew is gonna be impacted, and it's panicked like that. So for the time being, while waiting for my forces to get into positions, get healed up, I'm gonna be doing some counter artillery, but counter artillery play right now. Always remember, if you fight your artillery, it's just a good habit to shift queue it to another position. As soon as it's fired, it's a payload. Then your artillery is just gonna move itself to the new designated position. That way, it frees up your APM. You don't have to stress too much about whether you've moved your pieces or not. Now this GMLRS, it's a favorite of mine. It's armed with the cluster munitions, so if you give it enough salvo, usually I go for half salvo, and that means six rockets on the GMLRS. It's gonna take out pretty much anything in its zone. Phase 2 is coming to an end, and you can see the tide has switched over. Now we're up by points and kills.
Roger, we're on the move. Don't shoot unless fired upon. Scouts ready. We have a building to secure. Driver, backwards. Abrams, ready to roll. Make way. Friendly fighting vehicles ready. Moving there now. Lav here. We're combat ready. Copy. Relocating.
Yeah,
Artillery on
my allies here pinged, and there was something wrong with the chat right now, and you can see I was typing it but it wasn't showing up. So in the early days of Broken Arrow, there was still some bugs, and this being one of it. I thankfully for the ping, I did manage to bring up a Viper, and my Viper does come equipped with 2 Stinger missiles that is gonna allow it to engage air-to-air assets here. You can see my ally was doing a great job there spotting those targets, making sure that it keeps the backline safe.
looking for enemy contact. Hit the gas, driver.
So Viper fired its 2 Stinger missiles, does take out the enemy killer eggs. I think those killer eggs were carrying some infantry as well, so that would have been a problematic development for our side. You can see my forces now starting to array, starting to be brought up to the front lines here. I now have 5 heavy tanks, I think. I have heavy tanks, 2 javelin squad on the side here, the scout team on the top right there, a couple of LAV for air defense, and getting myself ready to push across the bridge here.
Moving to next waypoint.
All the while, the front line is holding. My ally is doing a great job at holding the front line, making sure that we are not getting pushed anywhere else.
Artillery relocating. Relocating to the next emplacement. Departing.
You can see I'm typing out my intentions to my teammates here, and unfortunately the game sort of crashed out. Well, not crashed out, but it was bugged. But so I wasn't sure if they know what my intentions are right now.
US Marine, hoorah! Scout team here, we're taking fire.
So you can see how slow the reinforcements can be, because the reinforcement point is so far from any of the actual objectives that it takes about a minute or 2 for anything that you're going to call in to even reach the front lines. So things can change very quickly in this map if you don't secure your front lines correctly. If I see a bunch of enemy helicopters pushing on over to the left side here, gonna be shifting over my LAV and see if I can catch any of these enemy helicopters out. No, please provide some sort of air defense for my allies here. The more the merrier. With my forces almost in position right now, the necessary forces in position, I'm gonna be shifting them up just to get them ready for the push. And you can see over here, I've just highlighted, I've brought in triple LAV-Dragonfires. These are mortars from the striker group, and I'm gonna be using the mortars as a smoke to provide smoke cover for me to push across. And this is a little bit of a tactical play here in my mind, because in my opinion, I think when you're trying to assault a position, the best way to do so is to not let the enemy have range or line of sight at your units, so that way you can push across and sort of take over the positions that you want to take over. And when you push across as well, it's not a matter of pushing into the point or the objectives here. So my goal isn't to take and capture the objectives immediately. I want to push across to, say for example, the end of the tree line here, to make sure that I deny the enemy as much cover as I can, while being in a position that I can do the best position that I can be. So I'm just it's a bit finicky for me because one of the LAV Dragonfire actually made it all the way up. The other 2 were stuck in the back. So the one that was up, it started firing its salvo first. So, and I'm just covering, dropping down smokes on these buildings here, because previously I was taking enemy javelin fire from these buildings here. So I want to make sure that when I'm pushing across, the enemy javelin does not have line of sight of my units. and if they can't see my units, they can't fire at my units. The other two Dragonfire is going to be doing the same thing here, just going to shoot a bunch of smoke on the bottom here, down the road, and when enough smoke is starting to happen, I'm going to be shifting all of my units across. I want to do it in a big push because you want to make sure you get enough units at the same time to go across, and speed and aggression is your friend here. You want to be quick, you want to be fast, you want to catch the enemy off guard, and when they're not in position. So I'm pretty certain that a lot of things could have taken out my tanks when they're crossing the bridge here, but because of the smokes, a lot of their units were unable to respond or react to my engagement here. I'm gonna keep 2 tanks on the outside of the river to provide cover, while the rest is just gonna try to make their way across the river as quickly as possible. You can see, because of the range right now, the enemy javelin team is unable to engage my tanks. One of the AVP here crossed the other bridge and was lucky enough not to be taken out on the way, but bumping into the enemy scout team, who's armed with the AT-4 themselves, is gonna be taken out by the enemy scout team. You can see I kept one of the tanks last across the river with its long range shot, and my forces are now starting to flood across into the tree lines here. And I'm not rushing them into the point because there's limited cover in the points itself, unless I can hide behind the buildings here. Now my LAV was sort of late to the party, so the enemy helicopters sort of had a limited time of free range on my tanks here. I was quickly losing a couple of tanks there. A bad play on my end. The LAV is now here and it's going to take care of the enemy aircrafts. AVP dropping in my Marine Raiders in recon. It's going to quickly engage the enemy Delta team, as well as my tanks and all the other equipment providing cover fire, dishing out maximum damage to the enemy before they even get a shot out. Smokes from the mortars continuously firing just to provide cover from any enemy long-range missiles or tanks that's gonna approach. The GMLRS as well is gonna be shooting at where I think the enemy equipment is gonna be by the time it comes. So unfortunately my Viper does get caught out getting too far ahead, and the enemy shore red was on point. You can see I'm pinging Echo right now, generally because if you see your teammate making a solid push and have a foothold across the river, you want to take advantage of that chaos your teammates just created. In this case, the teammate being me, I've created a foothold across the enemy position here. Ideally my teammate should be rushing across as well and causing maximum confusion and aggression on the enemy part. You don't want to stay too static once you've crossed. You want to keep your units mobile at all times, and shortly in a while you're going to see why. So my units are battered somewhat, but they're still in fighting condition. I'm going to be pulling back my mortars because there's no need for them to get up there anymore. You can see I have to keep moving because the enemy is throwing pretty much everything they have at my position right now. Let's see, I've been telling my teammates to push. Unfortunately, the chat system is being a problem right now. Now I'm at a risk of being overrun right now, so I've got to keep my units moving. Enemy cruise missiles landing, fortunately not damaging any of my tanks. The Force Recon unfortunately gets targeted and is destroyed. And Bradley successfully moves out of the way and is going for a hunt of the enemy AA pieces, the vulnerable, the back lines here. You can see more enemy All of the enemy artillery, cruise missiles, clusters, everything's hammering the C point right now. Trophies getting really low. Two of my tanks just gonna be hiding behind the silos there. Unfortunately, my allies finally took the hint and it's starting to push across. At this point, I'm gonna throw some smokes down and retreat my units to get them rearmed, repaired, and fresh again for the next fight. So I'm gonna be pulling back my units and letting my teammate take the next fight. So that was a pretty interesting, very tactical play, I think. It could have been better, in my opinion. I could have put the smokes down in an orderly fashion and secured better positions. But this was my first time doing this, and I figured a smoke play is always a fun thing to try, especially in war games, right? Coming from Warno as well, smoke was one of my favorite tactics when playing Warno as well. And surprisingly, in Broken Arrow, it's working. My poor MTVR getting caught out by the enemy cluster here. Oh. So that push across sort of took out the enemy position quite roughly too. My tanks that pushed across kind of destroyed a lot of the enemy pieces that was in play. I think causing one of the enemy players to rage quit as well. Always fun to see. So yeah, thankfully my allies here pushing their units across. Unfortunately, they pushed up without any adequate AA defense, anti-air, so the enemy killer eggs is now having free reign on their pieces too. So with my double javelin squad sort of making it over, I'm going to be putting them into better positions, make sure they cover the streets coming into the points better too. I spotted a few enemy pieces here. With my tank still in play, I want to be causing more damage to the enemy, so just gonna be charging my tanks on the road, see if I can catch out these AA squads here. Gonna be fast moving my tanks down the road, and once they turn the corner, they're gonna be bumping into a tow team as well as a whole sniper team caught out in the open. Imagine taking that to the face. Oof. Another AA team here. So we've effectively wiped out the enemy side and pushed across and developing fresh and better positions for ourselves to defend against C, Charlie and Echo points. But I think at this point we've sort of obliterated the enemy positions here. It was a fun game. It's definitely a fun game to play. Using the smokes like that was one of the highlights of the game, I think. Tactically, so I would recommend using smokes when you're trying to push into any positions. Smoking is always a good idea. Well, smoking in-game is always a good idea because it prevents the enemy from attacking you, and you being able to dish out maximum confusion and harassment. Right now my left AD is going to zoom in, catch the enemy Apache off guard here. We're essentially slicing the map up, so any reinforcing units is going to be caught out by my forces here. Helicopters and tanks that all have to be spawned in from that direction. It's going to be gonna be taken out before they can reach the other points.
Get out in 10 seconds, not 10 fucking minutes! U.S. Marine, ready for combat. Inlet Abrams, warmed up and ready to go. Roger, moving to next waypoint.
And there we have it. Victory goes to the team and I. We've come up with a very healthy 10,715 points in kills, 5,515 points in death, KD ratio of 1.94. Nice number of medals, KD stuff, all good things. That was really a fun game, I think. Strategically, in the beginning, I harassed the enemy on the right side there, and making sure that I create confusion and some of psychological gameplay going on. This definitely, in my opinion, confused the enemy a bit, or sort of forced the enemy to draw or commit to a defense where they don't really have to in the end, right? And towards the late stages, when I'm using the smoke to push my tanks across, that is also a very fun idea to use in your next game, I hope. So there you have it. It's just the kill score now. I was going through and see like a lot of fun things. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Bye.